Hi, so by now you're becoming familiar with the course unit and we're now entering topic 3 or week 3 of information impact and evaluation. So I thought it would be helpful just to give a bit of a recap, just to cover some of the main themes that we have introduced you to over the past couple of weeks and which hopefully are setting the scene for the next 2 or 3 units before you have the midterm assignment. So essentially the focus of the first week of teaching was to help you shift your thinking from more clinical based and more individually based thinking to where we are starting to look at groups of people which we often refer to as a population. We've got over the idea that a population can be any group of people. It might just be the students on this campus, for example, or everybody who lives in Greater Manchester, everybody with heart disease who lives in Europe, or it might actually be everybody in the whole world, and these are some of the issues that WHO, the World Health Organization, are having to deal with. We helped bring in some ideas to help you start thinking about what information and what data we might need to be collecting, and that type of data which might already exist, to help us then find out more about our population. In particular, and especially in public health, there are a wide number of variables that we are often interested, which extend way beyond some of the more traditional clinical or disease-focused variables. And then we can use this data and information to then stack up to create some knowledge. But what we highlighted was that knowledge on its own really doesn't serve that much purpose. What we want this to be used for is to then start making some effective decisions to either change the status quo or to help maintain that which already exists. One of the big challenges that we have in population health refers to diversity. Diversity, of course, in many areas is actually a fantastic achievement that's taking place in some parts of the world. But when we start thinking about it in terms of identifying and then meeting the health needs of different people, it starts to introduce some challenges. In particular to this unit are the challenges associated with identifying and measuring certain aspects of people's health and then being able to apply that average or categorized data to then help determine the health needs of a particular individual, or to use data from a particular individual to then help determine the health needs of a group of people. Diversity can exist as well in terms of the people who actually get measured. For example, people who go to a hospital are often quite different to people who live in the wider population. There's also diversity in the different methods that we might use to try and measure the same variable, such as physical activity or diet or an aspect of diet. And then there is also diversity across different methods of measurement and different ways that people apply certain measurement tools. And here we gave an example around obesity and how changing the categories can actually have a sudden impact on how one might then refer to a population or that which is taking place within it. We then started to help think about demography and measuring health in a more focused context, and we return to some of the epidemiological principles that many of you will have come across before, and here we introduce you to such important aspects in terms of standardization, and we asked you to recap on direct and indirect standardization methods. It's really important, I think, that within this course unit and all our course units you will find that there are a number of self-tests and self-reflections and also some examples for you to work through. And certainly in this unit these are important for you to work through to help you with the midterm and then the final assessments.